Hello, Kindred Spirits, and welcome to my spiritual oasis, here weary souls come to find inner wisdom and peace. Today we're going to be doing our Soulful 7, again, the next 5 messages for the next 5 to 7 days that are centered around filling up your spiritual, emotional cup for the week or for the next 5 to 7 days. These are meant to be timeless messages from Spirit, from the universe, from God. Areas of focus, areas of regeneration, areas of life, of love, of happiness, of joy, all of those beautiful things. So we are here today, focusing on filling up our own cups so that we can go out into the world and fill cups of those around us. Today our messages are going to be led by our Tao Oracle. So we're going to be having guiding messages from a Tao Oracle and then supporting that with other Oracle decks and Tarot as well. These messages are all intuitive. I have nothing prepared. There will be 3 groups and the links to the groups will be in the description. So if you need to pause the video right now to meditate, to breathe, to settle your mind and open up your spirit to which message your message resides in, please do so now. Without further ado, we're going to just get right into the readings. Hello, group number 1, and welcome to your reading. We're going to go ahead and shuffle our Tao Oracle. What is the guiding energy for our message today? Okay. Whole stack of cards. What is the guiding energy for our message today? Guiding energy. What is the guiding energy for our message today? This is the card that stood out. So we have stand still. Alienation, a stalemate, stagnation, withholding, grinding to a halt, insensitivity, and mistrust. Well, that's challenging energy. I feel like the first thing that really stood out to me was this idea of like grinding to a halt, which really reminded me of like Hanged Man energy. We have our 10 of Swords. Okay. It also reminds me of this idea of standstill reminds me of like being in a disagreement or a challenging circumstance with like someone you love and neither person is willing to concede or even to like hear the other person out. And then with our 10 of Swords energy coming through, this idea of like karmic lessons and kind of being at the bottom of the discord and thinking, and coming to the idea or the conclusion that you can only go up from here, I feel like is very interesting. For some of you, I'm getting the message here that if the idea of like a relationship, not necessarily romantic, but a relationship in general coming to a halt or a standstill, or having like a disagreement with someone you care about, a loved one, a partner, that it's almost like going downhill, that a series of events kind of have escalated over time until you've reached kind of the valley, if you will, of this precipice. And the message that I am getting here, and we just flipped over our Spirit of Cups energy, this idea that there is an opportunity here. What I'm hearing here is an opportunity for healing, an opportunity for understanding, an opportunity for healing the wounds and the challenges that have caused this stagnation, that has brought, if you like, emotions, if you will, to a head, and cause this standstill type of energy. And this idea of insensitivity I'm getting too is that someone, or potentially even both of you, are not being empathetic to the other person's perspective. And I feel like that's like a major part of the challenge. So let's just kind of keep moving here into the reading. We have the Five of Rings here. This idea of insecurity and recovery often speaks of, insecurities and difficulties in like the worldly realm. So whether that has to do with physical illnesses or ailments, and also like financial issues. And that could have been, where some of the difficulty has come from, this idea of financial difficulty, that sort of thing. The Ten of Swords also really reminds me of like the messages that we tell ourselves, like in our head, the messages that reverberate off of our mind, can be very difficult, especially when we have so many of them. And I feel like I'm feeling as if your mind has like taken some of the situation, the circumstances, which, not to say that the challenge of these circumstances aren't reality, but I'm just getting the message here that you've kind of taken them and like amplified them in your mind. Your mind has been kind of just mulling over this and amplifying it and kind of hyping it up, almost like making it bigger than it is, making it more detrimental than it is, potentially, for some of you. So I feel like, this is why you've kind of like withdrawn, and then they're reacting to you or you're reacting to them. Like someone withdrew first and the other person is just kind of reciprocating that energy. So the general message that I am getting as well is this idea of recovery. Like I said, I feel like we're at the bottom. We're at the bottom of the mountain right now. We're in the valley. And only upwards. Our Ten of Swords is about karmic lessons, but it's also about moving forward, moving upwards. Now we're at the valley, and the only way that we have to go is up, back up the mountain, or up a new mountain, I feel like. And I feel like that new mountain here is this idea in the Spirit of Cups, this idea of opportunity. The opportunity to make amends. That's what I'm getting. So if you're really vibing with the idea of being in discord with like a loved one, I feel like there's an opportunity here to make amends, to move forward, to move upwards. I am getting a message here in if a relationship is not vibing with you, I am getting the message here that this idea of like the standstill, like I said, reminded me of like the hangman energy. So it's almost like you're in a place of suspension. You're in a place where activity has slowed down or even stopped completely. And this really gives you an opportunity to see things from a different perspective, to see things from a point of view that allows you to see opportunity from the difficulty. And this idea of like being creative, tapping into your creative abilities, which could very well be related or connected to that sword energy. I'm getting, with a 12 reducing down to a 3. When I first saw this card, I thought of this idea of like communication and friendship. So it could have something to do with like friendship. So again, like back to our romantic reading, kind of going back to the essence of your relationship, and building that friendship again, rediscovering what that friendship is. And for those of you again who are not vibing with the romance reading or the relationship reading, this idea of tapping into your ability to communicate with others in a creative way, I'm feeling like is an opportunity to kind of move forward out of this point of stalemate. But I do feel like, again, this hangman energy, this idea of kind of like time stopping in a way, or at least activity stopping, is giving you an opportunity to discover, to figure out who you are and what your creative talents are. And I feel like that's really connecting beautifully with our botanical energy. So we have samphire and burdock. Samphire's keyword is adventure, and I feel like that's very much so connected to this idea of the Spirit of Cups energy, which is again about opportunity and creativity. And then our burdock energy is like tenacity. So kind of toughing it out, sticking to it, having like the grit to like hold on to something and see it through to the end, I feel like. I'm getting the message for some of you is like with this karmic lessons, the energy that's coming to me is like Saturn return type of energy. This idea that you've kind of been going through a place of a space or several years potentially even of learning, or even portions of your relationship, like you've been in a learning phase. And I feel like it's kind of coming back around to like almost test, like Saturn is almost coming back around to test to see if you've learned the lessons that have, that you've been in the process of to this point. And I also feel like that's very much solely connected to tenacity, because our Saturn energy, the lessons that we receive through Saturn is character building lessons. And that's why I feel like tenacity is really coming in. It's almost like, have you built that portion of your character where you can, stick something out and kind of see it through to the end. What I'm also seeing here, assuming that you have learned the lesson, this idea of recovery keeps like echoing in my head. And I feel like the recovery energy would be coming from our Spirit of Cups energy, this idea of creativity, this idea of tapping into creative energies connected with your destiny, connected with your life path and life purpose. And that's what I'm getting here as well. So I'm feeling as if we're looking at our samphire, this adventure, this idea of adventure, opportunity and creativity. I'm really just getting like from these endeavors, from kind of like figuring out who you are. I feel like, in a rock bottom situation, which is kind of where I feel like we are in many ways and on multiple levels potentially. When we're at a rock bottom situation, like all we can do is look up. We can't look down anymore because we're as low as we can be. And I feel like when we look up, or when you look up from this position, this very humble position, when you look up, I feel like the question should be to yourself, like, what do you see? I feel like this, again, this hangman, this idea of suspension, is an opportunity for you to look into, or to envision, I should say, what you would like your life to look like in the future. So what you envision your life to be like. And so we flipped out our focus card, which the keyword there is empowered. The triggering statement here is, I don't want to hear, or I don't want to be here. And then the true statement is, I am exactly where I need to be. Oh my gosh, that is so interesting here, because literally a lot of the energy that we're talking about, especially on this side of the board here, is about that challenge. It's about that difficulty. It's about those hard lessons. And, you know, what is the phrase? No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but it reaps rewards. It reaps benefits. And again, like focusing, concentrating, or even spending any energy in a place of, you know, distress in some way, shape, or form is like not where we want to be. But I feel like instead of focusing on the negative, because we don't want to be here, why? We don't want to be here because there's negativity. So the true statement, it kind of switches it around and it's like, I am exactly where I need to be. And I feel like this is like empowering yourself. Instead of focusing on the negative, focus on the lesson. And I feel like that is the lesson, is even when difficult times come, focusing on the lesson and not the actual series of events that are taking place, or the negative feelings or the disconcerting energies, but instead focusing on what you're learning from it, what you're gaining from it, what you're pulling out of it. So this idea of empowerment and focus, I feel like, is critical, especially to the energies that are happening over here with this idea of opportunity and adventure coming our way. So I feel like part of the lesson also is, you know, when things are good, when opportunities are available to us, this idea of like taking the chance on ourselves, taking the chance on our abilities and our creativity, and empowering ourselves to move forward and to live life really on our terms, and how and living life also in this idea of being focused, like this focused energy. You are ready to allow the energy from the divine and Mother Earth to fuel you as you fulfill your potential here. Yeah, so I feel like this idea of opening yourself up, you know, going on this adventure. I feel like life, like this next step in your life, again, looking up the mountain and envisioning what you want your life to look like on your journey. And then when you reach the pinnacle of this next chunk of life. And I feel like we're at this place, this standstill, this moment of suspension, so that we will have time to envision and to make those make that leap, if you will. So I'm also getting, we also turned the calming card from our essential oil deck. The keyword there is acceptance. The triggering statement, I cannot trust anyone. The truth is, everyone deserves my love. I open my heart to heal and release. I open myself to the peace of divine love and grace. So I really feel like it's kind of connecting to some of these lessons, some of the decisions that we made in our past that maybe haven't yielded the best results for us spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, whatever area it pertains to. But this idea of releasing that, accepting and releasing it. We cannot release it if we don't even acknowledge and admit that it exists. So this idea of releasing these things after we have accepted them. Like, yes, I made this mistake, and now I'm moving forward from this mistake, and I learned this lesson from this mistake, and I'm moving on. I feel like also this idea of feeling worthy of peace, feeling worthy of love, feeling worthy of grace, and forgiveness as we move through this life and face these different challenges of our human experience. And I feel like it's very fitting here that these cards both have the green energy. So that heart chakra message. This idea of, opening up our hearts too. Opening up our hearts to ourselves and to those around us and to future love. Like this idea of opening my heart to heal and to release, I feel like is very critical to the foundational message and energy that we are partaking in today for your message group number 1. So those are the general messages, and we're going to add 3 soul truth cards to our conversation here. The idea here is that you are selecting one of these soul truth cards to meditate on for the week, to meditate on, to contemplate, to journal through one of these questions. So I'm going to lay them out, and you can select whichever one kind of calls to you or triggers you the most. So the first one is, what excuses am I making right now? No more waiting. There will never be a good enough time. The time is now. If it's important enough to you, you will find a way. Make a decision and do it even if you don't feel ready. Listen to your heart. You will be led. So I feel like even this reference to heart, and we have 2 heart chakra essential oil messages today. I'm feeling like this idea again of opening your heart, working on that heart chakra through different types of exercises, through essential oil energy, through affirmations, prayer, meditation, that sort of thing too. And I also feel like this standstill energy is like, it's like a frigid heart, a cold heart, a closed off heart. Mistrust is definitely a closed heart chakra type of message. So I feel like, warming up our hearts and opening up our hearts, not only to other people, but also to ourselves. Sometimes we shut ourselves out of our own hearts because we're afraid we're going to hurt ourselves, or put ourselves in compromising positions as we have potentially in the past. And I feel like focusing on healing that and releasing that energy. When was the last time I danced freely? Dance. Because it will shift you into a beautiful state. Because it will get you out of your head and into your body and heart. Because fear lives in the head along with anxiety. Or a 10 of Swords. Control, guilt, frustration, and impatience. In just a few minutes of dancing, you will make the shift. You will feel a charge of joy and confidence take over, and you will feel a soul reminder to live and lead from your heart. Again, heart messages. Hardcore heart messages here. Dancing is a tool to ground us in the now. Ooh, so critical. It triggers happiness and is the gateway to freedom. To become free, dance. Dance for 3 minutes to your favorite songs. Notice the inward fire grow within, feeling, and the way you feel. You are a wild, loving force. Express it with dance today. I feel like a dance, again, is really just this idea of freeing yourself through movement. Okay, and then our last question, am I clear on what my soul really wants? Oh my gosh, this is such an interesting question. Take out the shoulds and the limitations, get out of your head and pay attention to your heart's desire instead. If you knew it was impossible to fail, what would you do? Wherever you go, go with all your heart. Ask yourself, what is that your soul really wants? What does your heart crave? Then take one step in that direction. So I feel like we were kind of talking about this a little bit as well in our overall message about opportunity, this idea of like opportunity and adventure and tapping into our creativity. And I was talking about like being at the bottom of the mountain and looking up and then seeing what you envision for your life. So if that really called to you, this question is probably going to be a really good, a really good message for you to take into the next week here, the next 5 to 7 days to contemplate on and ponder through. So again, if you need to pause the video or rewind the video and take a look at the different cards available to you, please feel free to do that. Again, it's meant to take this message with you for the next 5 to 7 days. Do journaling, do meditation on these different questions, and try to come to some sort of resolution with yourself as to where you stand in one of these areas for the week. So these are the messages, group 1, that I have channeled for you today. I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, make sure to drop a comment down below and let me know. Click like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as liking my Facebook page and checking out my Etsy shop, where I curate content to help you on your spiritual and life journey. Thank you again for your time and your energy, and I will see you in an upcoming reading. Bye. Hello, group number 2, and welcome to your reading. So we're going to go ahead and get shuffling for our Tao Oracle, which is guiding our message today for you, group number 2. So what guiding message do we have for our group number 2 today? What guiding message do we have for group number 2? I'm feeling your energy. I'm feeling some really great energy. Very fitting to your energy. So we have the creative. This is one energy. It's that go-getter. I'm almost like Aries energy. So our creative energy is like strong, divine masculine energy, outwardly expressive. Again, I'm feeling Aries energy. Number 1 energy, action-oriented. So the active yang principle, strength, tenacity, dynamism, inspiration, heaven, masculinity, authority, and father. So yeah, emperor energy as well is also coming through here. What do I feel like our soulful message is for you, especially as we go through the week, and for you to focus on, is this idea of tapping into your creative energy. How fitting. The Magician card popped out. Manifestation and synchronicity. It's also a number 1. Okay, so we're getting a lot of 1 energy here. Yeah, this idea of creating, creativity and creating. So focusing on the areas in which you create. What are you called to create? I feel like that's a really great focal energy for you for this week. Is it painting? You know, have you played music in the past, or sang or wrote songs or did poetry, or do you love talking or something? Like whatever that creative endeavor is, or that creative itch that's kind of been in the back of your mind that you've been putting off or ignoring. Feeling like now the next 5 to 7 days is the perfect time for you to really start digging into those things. And also like standing strong in it as well is also what I'm getting. Okay, so then we have our 3 of Rings, which is all about collaboration and competency, building up skills, apprenticeship. And I would also say it's connected to like finding mentor or mentorship as well. And then, we have 2 cards. Sneaky. So we have the Spirit of Rings as well as the Tower. So the Tower energy, I'm really seeing this idea of conflict and disruption. So whether this has happened has happened already, this Tower energy, this, Tower energy is really about change, similar to death, but the difference here really is that the Tower energy is like quick and almost ruthless. Like it forces you out of your current position, forces you to take a different path or a different direction. So this could indicate like like you lost a job, or something really dramatic and difficult and challenging in your life. Very disruptive energy in your life. But I do feel like whatever this is, if it has happened already, it's something that's going to move you toward your creative calling. So I feel like it's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging to get through, but it's going to lead you, or potentially even force you, into a creative space. So with our Spirit of Rings, what I do see here is this idea of productivity and endurance, I feel like is what is necessary. Like what's going to be necessary to manifest what you're after, your creative energy. So yes, this idea of manifestation to me does really talk about this element of magic, this element of divine intervention in a way. But there is work and effort that comes behind that as well. It's not just something that appears out of thin air. It is going to take effort. It is going to take work. Our spirit energy is similar to our night energy, or it's equivalent to our night energy. And our night energy is about action. It's about work. And so I do feel like these energies all together are going to be working with a focus about creativity. I feel like having a focus in general to channel all of this energy. You have two major cards, a court card, a card that's about collaboration. And I feel like you're going to have the people on your team, or you're going to have access to people, mentors and teammates that are going to help you with your creative endeavor. You just have to have a focus. And I feel like that's going to kind of be what your challenge is to obtain and maintain the focus of your vision, of your life vision and your life calling. And what exactly is this creative endeavor that you should embark on? For some of you, I'm getting the message that it could be related to spirituality. It could be related to, being a psychic or a medium, something of that nature. But I mean, obviously the creative element is going to vary depending on who you are and, what your talents and things are as well. So bearing all of that in mind. So we do have indigo adding into the conversation, this idea of enhancement, enhance. I feel like that's related to our Three of Rings energy. This idea of this idea of apprenticeship and work is about enhancing your knowledge, enhancing your, what your talents already are. Again, so if we're talking about creative energy, something that you might naturally be drawn to, I feel like this idea of enhancement is about bringing that to the next level, not just kind of settling for, if you will, if you use the term settling, for what comes naturally, but you're also tapping into, you're also enhancing what is already there. You're building up what already exists. And I feel like that's going to be very important for you moving forward as well. This idea of enhancement. And I feel like you just have the power. You just have the backing. You have the power that you need to manifest the life that you want. So I really think this idea of synchronicity is really important too in our magician energy. This idea of synchronizing or your life coming into alignment is the message that I'm getting. So this creative endeavor is going to be in alignment again with your divine purpose. It's going to be on your path, your destined path. And it's going to just sync. It's going to make sense. It's going to bring together, I'm getting for a lot of you, it's going to bring together a number of different creative abilities that you have that you maybe up to this point have not been able to connect them, or you just don't feel like they're connected. Whatever this thing is going to sync all of these different things together, and it's going to amplify and enhance all of these various different things. But I do feel like there is going to be a disruption and a conflict that happens as well as we are moving on this journey. And it could be, I'm getting the message that some of you are kind of just in like the realm of just kind of going through life. Just kind of going through the motions of life. Your heart's beating and you're breathing, and so you get up and you go to work. But this idea of fulfilling your potential, this idea of tapping into and accessing your true power is kind of being lost right now. I'm feeling just in general, this idea of it's just you're not like living up to your true potential is kind of the message that I'm getting. So we have repellents being added to our conversation. This idea, the keyword here is shielded. The triggering statement here is I am under attack. And the true statement is I am strong. So we talked about courage. We talked about strength, and now we're talking about, being strong. So strength here. So I feel like this message of strength is really important here as well. So you will clearly see what you are taking on from outside influences and release. Your energetic boundaries are fortified. So I feel like maybe some of you, I'm getting the message here that maybe some of you, your environment is not conducive to the kind of creativity that you need, the kind of creativity that we're talking about here. And I feel like this message here is protect your space. So if you are in a physical place, is what I'm getting, like a physical space or physical place that is not building you up, then it's tearing you down, is the message that I'm getting. And just being cognizant of that and making the decision to make a change. So we have bergamot, which the keyword here is expansion. Triggering statement here is I am not enough, but the true statement is I love myself. Your tender heart is in need of care. Know that your body is here to help you experience a miraculous life. Embrace it. I really love that that message, because I feel like the Magician card is coming up because you're feeling out of sync. That a lot of things in general in your life are just not in sync. They're not in harmony. I'm also getting here with our Three of Rings, this idea of collaboration, that if your living environment, your current living environment is not conducive to creative, the type of creativity that we're talking about here, or even the creativity that that you are capable of, I am getting the message here that will change. So this idea that roommates, I'm getting. That's kind of the only way I can how I can describe what I'm seeing here. This idea of roommates, or somebody coming to you and you having another living situation is what I'm getting. Consolidating resources is what I'm getting at, or having access to the resources through other people that you need. Getting kind of a a hands-on type of creative, metalwork or pottery or something like that, where you would have access to a studio space or something like that. That felt very specific to somebody. But this idea in general of getting yourself into a place, a physical place, a spiritual place, an emotional place and space of getting in alignment with your purpose. And I'm feeling a lot of tangibility, tangible resources, tangible like this idea of productivity, just like really earthly energy right now. It's almost like trekking through, putting in your due in order to manifest. I feel like all of this work and effort is meant to manifest this life that you're after, this life that you want. Talk about manifestation. We have Lady's Mantle. Keyword here is magic. So yeah, definitely feeling a lot of magical energy, just really intense and exciting energy in general surrounding this whole reading. With this idea of creativity, I feel like tapping into our creative endeavors synergizes a lot of different elements in our lives. In general, it taps into various different, life purpose types of energies and harmonizes them together, synchronizes them. So magic and manifestation, I feel like, are coming together and making a connection for us as we align with our purpose. And then we have Wormwood, which is cautioning us. And I feel like that's very much solely connected to our Tower energy. Probably should actually switch these cards around. But I feel like the caution energy in this particular case, there's a number of things I feel like to be cautious of and to look out for. But some things like wormwood can repel pests and ward off all sorts of ailments. But it is also toxic in some quantities. In much the same way caution can save your life or keep you out of sticky situations, fear or anxiety can also be toxic. Many situations require prudence and a look before you leap attitude. If you are seeing this in an oracle context, ask yourself what areas of your life may need further examination or investigation. So I do feel like this is a double-edged sword, as many things are. I feel like balance is always, I would say, the ruling energy of any conversation. Where there is work, there also needs to be rest. Where there is diligence and effort, there also needs to be the balance of that. And this idea of balancing energy. But what I really feel like, this almost like... I'm feeling for some of you that being cautious sometimes can manifest as being paranoid, and it prevents you from taking action. And I feel like that's kind of the cautionary tale here, is that when this Tower moment has comes, if it has not come already for you, instead of sulking away and being closed off, I'm feeling like expansiveness is the response, or should be, is like the fruitful response for you. Because I feel like there's going to be something really beautiful that blooms from this challenge and this difficulty and this sudden change, this unexpected change. All right, so those are our main messages that I have for you, group number 2 today. And now we're going to add our soul truth cards. Again, we're going to lay out 3 of these soul truth cards for you to select one of them to contemplate and meditate on, move forward with, do journaling for the next 5 to 7 days. So for the next week, really just focusing on this one, one of these questions or one of these ideas. So our first one is, am I communicating my needs? Your needs matter. What are you needing right now that you haven't communicated? What are you afraid of? Is it possible that what you are fearing is not true? So I feel like caution also talked about fear as well. Like fear and anxiety is like kind of the double-edged sword sometimes of being cautious. But this idea of what if what you are fearing is not actually true? And I feel like that caution, the idea of fear, and this question of truth in fear is connected to the Tower energy. So I feel like our first reaction to change is to kind of rebel against it, to fight against it. But I feel like the message for you is when that change comes, to embrace that change, to lean into that change, because I feel like that change is what's going to sweep all of this really beautiful manifesting, magical, productivity, creative enhancement. Like I just feel like once you lean into it, you embrace it, it's going to reveal itself as like exactly what you needed to hear, to know, moving forward. So your soul action for the week is to journal the answers to these questions. So, what are my needs? Am I saying no and yes enough based on my desires? Am I telling my full truth? Do I believe that my needs matter? And do I share them with others? Do I ask for what I want? When communicating my needs, what am I resisting and with whom? What do I need in order to feel safe enough to express my needs? So that's a lot of questions, and I feel like kind of maybe taking one of these a day or a couple of them a day and really just chewing on them, meditating on them, literally writing it down, pen and paper, or even speaking them. I feel like even speaking them into like a recorder app or something like that could be helpful as well, and like playing them back for yourself even after the 5 to 7 days are up. But this idea of communication, especially communicating our needs, this idea of self-advocacy is like so important. All right, and our second question is, where am I called to use my voice right now? So this is the second message on using your voice. You know, the message that came right to me is really similar to the first question, this idea of self-advocacy and speaking out. I feel like I would expand the idea of voice to, writing, speaking, and or other forms of expression that has to do with, connected or related to voice. So singing, poetry, things like that, I feel like would also be a part of this. So you have a soul script that was written to be spoken. Your story matters, and it's time for you to share it with the world. So your soul action for the week is to share your story with at least one person. Be brave and speak your truth. Your voice will be the catalyst for healing in others. You know, I feel like if you want to remain anonymous, speaking your story in, as a comment is also something that you could do as well if you are up for that challenge. So let's see here. Our final question is, from whom can I release my judgment right now? From whom can I release my judgment? Judgment closes our heart to truth and separates us from love. It binds us to our fear and holds us in shame. On whom are you placing judgment right now? Is it someone in your life? Is it yourself? Release the shackles, drop the expectations, and be grateful for what is. So your soul action for the week is to look at the person you are judging as if you are looking at a small child. See them learning and growing, falling down and making mistakes. See their desire to be loved and accepted. Add even more grace to open your heart to this truth. When I lift the judgment from myself and others, I uncover my own truth. I am loved. I am whole. I am limitless, and so are they. So I think this idea of judgment is, it's very interesting, because I feel like we are our own worst critics. We can be very hard on ourselves, and we really, we really just kind of lean into ourselves. We're often unfair to ourselves. So though we might be judging others, I feel like our judgment of others is also a reflection of how we judge ourselves. I feel like that's all connected. So, potentially some healing there for some of us this week when it comes to judgments. So if you need to pause the video here or rewind the video to review the 3 messages again, please feel free to do that. These are the messages that I have channeled for you today, group number 2, the messages that you needed to hear, and the energies and the focus for your next 5 to 7 days. Please do take, that 10 minutes a day or more to really do some digging on some of these areas and contemplate and mull over this message. So thank you so much for spending time with me. If something hit home, make sure to drop a comment and let me know what did drop. Drop a message just saying which of the questions you're going to take with you moving forward for the next week. Click like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're not already, and hit the notification bell so YouTube lets you know when I upload new content. Also, make sure to like my Facebook page and check out my Etsy shop, where I curate content to help you on your spiritual and life journey. Thank you again so much, beautiful soul, for your time and your energy today, and I will see you in an upcoming reading. Bye. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So we're going to go ahead and give our Tao Oracle a shuffle here to pull out the guiding energy of our conversation today for you. Okay. All right. Throwing cards. All right. Guiding energy for our group number 3. Guiding energy. Group number 3. Guiding energy. Group number 3. Oh. Okay. Well, half the deck, I think not. Okay, so this one's calling to me. Increase is the guiding energy. Sharing, reaping rewards, overflow, expansion, flowering, encouragement, fertile ground, abundance. Yep, when I saw that, the first thought that came to my mind was this idea of abundance, of increase. Empress energy, 10 of Pentacles energy, 10 of Cups energy, love, financial increase, whatever your heart desires. I feel like this idea of overflow too is really interesting, which kind of just reminds me of what we're doing here today. We're filling up our cup to overflowing spiritually and emotionally here during these Soulful 7. So Soulful 7 days of soulful energy that we're channeling. Okay, so we've got the Emperor energy came out. But yeah, this idea of fertile ground, I feel like could be talking about straight up just fertility. Like if you're looking to have a little one or start a family, something like that. But this idea of fertile ground is really interesting because it just reminds me of like the Knight of Pentacles energy, just like plowing the fields and fertilizing the soil in order to prepare it for the seeds. So in our Emperor energy, we've had this idea of wisdom. We have this idea of passion. So we have that Aryan energy, so that Aries energy. This could be reflecting a person, again, an Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. And I would even add Mars energy in there as well. Or a Sun, Moon, Rising, Mars. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mars. in Aries. But this idea of like divine masculine energy, go-getter, ambitious personality, this idea of passion, leadership, abundance is very much so, I feel like, connected with this, with our Emperor energy as well. Judgment. Awakening and revelation. I feel like this message is for some of you that like awakening to your own spiritual potency. Just kind of like realizing your power of manifestation, your power of creating the life that you want, creating the life that is meant for you. You know, creating that life that is in alignment with your purpose, with your vision. And just kind of coming to that revelation, having that awakening, that wake-up call is really what I'm seeing in Judgment here. That you always, at all times, have access to the power to manifest the life that you want. Ooh, Ace of Cups. So in our Ace of Cups, I do see, I'm getting really strong, like, love vibes from y'all. So in our Ace of Cups, I do see beginnings, new beginnings. So it could be talking about a love relationship, but I'm also getting like a new perspective. Again, this idea of awakening to your own power. I feel like it could be a new beginning to like spirituality, a new spiritual beginning, a new spiritual wake-up call. Transforming some knowledge into wisdom is also what I'm getting here. And our Ace of Cups is also about fulfillment, which I feel like, you know, some of you are coming into that realization of like who you are spiritually and receiving, like when I look at the Emperor, like this look of like peace and like that joy again is like that inner happiness. It's like happiness that starts from the inside of us, the core of us, whereas like regular happiness is outside stimulation. It's external. Things make us happy. Situations, people, whatever. Those sorts of things make us happy. Whereas joy starts from the center, from our core, the core of our being, and radiates out. Yeah, so I'm really getting a really strong spiritual spirit, like, yeah, just really strong spiritual energy. I swear if I'm just throwing cards out here. Okay. Ooh, this idea of encouragement is shuffling around cards is really challenging. This idea of encouragement, I feel like, is very interesting as well. I feel like it's like an epiphany, and I don't feel as if it's necessarily gonna be something that you all of a sudden wake up and is like ping, you know. I feel like it's gonna be something you move into. It's gonna kind of be growing, and then it will gradually come to you, like over a period of time you will notice it, like, oh wait, whoa. I feel like there is going to be some work and some effort involved in this, of course, because like anything worth keeping is worth working for, worth putting in the effort toward and for. So we have our Six of Swords energy. This idea of resolution and moving on, I think, is great. I feel like it's very much so connected to this idea of awakening and moving into a spiritual, spiritually strong space. and moving on, moving forward from whatever the darkness, you know, moving forward from whatever darkness that you've come out of, and moving into a place of enlightenment and love and peace and joy for yourself, and therefore for others as well. Our Ten of Cups. Yes, indeed. Abundance and attainment. I feel like this is right on. And I feel like I said this before. Oh my gosh. When the messages be hidden. I definitely mentioned this idea of abundance. I mentioned the Ten of Cups when I first saw the increase card. So the fact that she made an appearance makes me feel like our message is right on track here. Yeah, abundance, attainment, spiritual abundance I'm getting, emotional abundance. I'm getting love vibes too for some of you. So we have St. John's wort, which is about stabilize, or keyword is stabilize. Yeah, I'm really feeling, again, as you go through this, like it's not going to be all of a sudden you're going to wake up wise. Like it's going to be a slow, like gradual, paced process. It's going to be a journey. It's going to be an adventure that you kind of embark on as you learn and you grow in your, your spiritual soundness, if you will. And I feel like it's going to be sustainable. And I feel like that's what the St. John's wort is really talking about here, is this, the sustainability of your prosperity. And it's not going to be just, like lottery. You win the lottery and then 2 weeks later you're broke and wondering where all your money went. It's really about sustainability is the message that I'm getting here. And then in our clover, this idea of nurturing. Nurture. Man, I just feel like this is like vibing so well with our water energy, as well as our Six of Swords energy, this idea of resolution. And as we move forward, like this idea of nurturing ourselves too, I'm feeling like I'm just getting this sorry, I know I'm kind of all over the place, getting a lot of messages and lots of energies. Like a lot of the messages come through feelings, they come through like imagery. And so my words I can't talk fast enough sometimes to get all of them out, and they all want to come at the same time. So saying all of that to say that I'm feeling this really like peaceful, almost like this glowing like water, but it's not like water, it's almost like spiritual flow that's like iridescent, similar to this. I feel like this card is probably the closest to the thing that I'm seeing. But this idea just in general, like this whole message, this whole reading, it like feels like that. It's just a very calm, peaceful feeling. And I feel like that is kind of the I feel like it's kind of like the primary message is that you are just going to feel at peace. You are going to feel right where you belong is the message that I'm getting here. There will be no questions once you're in that place. You will have, okay, we just have things falling all over. But this idea that you are going to be exactly where you belong, you're going to know why you're there. And it's going to be this peaceful, okay, it reminds me of like, like this, this is what I'm seeing here. Well-dressed person walking through like their almost like the grounds that they keep. And in the background I see this really like beautiful house, mansion if you will, and they're just really well dressed in these like really elaborate garments, with their hands behind their back, and they're just like kind of strolling, just walking through the fields, like these colorful, abundant. It's just like walking through and admiring or appreciating all of the work and effort that they did. But it's just like really calm, peaceful. It's like a sunny day. There's sunlight shining on everything. That's just kind of like what I'm envisioning. Like this idea of sustained prosperity, of abundance in so many levels. And also nurturing yourself spiritually, being wise, being passionate, and awakening to like your life's purpose. So we have our Jasmine energy here. The key word is passion, which is connecting with our Emperor energy. The triggering statement here is I am scared. But the true statement is where I am vulnerable, I am at my strongest. Where I am vulnerable, or when I am vulnerable, I am at my strongest. That is so incredibly interesting. Wow. That's intense. I feel like that message is intense. This idea of vulnerability being strength, and I feel like that's like the strength card. Like it's just kind of screaming that strength card. Like, you know, the lion has the power to physically overpower the person that is with it, but it does not, because power actually resides in the restraint of strength, if you will, or the temperance of strength. It's almost like this gentle strength. And this idea of vulnerability being a strength. And we think it's a weakness, but it's not. It's so very interesting. It just reminds me of like when we share our story, when we share our life story, it's a very vulnerable position to be in. Because you're sharing something very personal. You're sharing some of the most difficult times that happened to you. And, you know, those things in some cases make you feel uncomfortable. They bring up, you know, the feelings that you don't want to feel. And being in that moment, you feel vulnerable. You feel weak. You are scared to expose yourself in that way. But the message here really is that being able to open yourself up in that way makes you strong. Reconnect with your feminine energy and pursue something that ignites your fire. Open the gates of your fortress and explore. Open the gates of your fortress. Open the gates of your fortress. Reminds me of adventure too. This idea of it like venturing out. So we also have inspiring as well coming with the key word of freedom, which, whoa, hello, I feel like is super connected to what we literally just said, this idea of opening your gates of your fortress and exploring. And I mentioned the word adventure, and now we're having this key word of freedom. Our triggering statement here is I have no choice, but the truth is that I create my day and my life. It is time. It is the time to play. Do something different today to shift your routine. I feel like this idea of also like passion. I feel like the Emperor is also very grounded energy, but it's also like very certain energy, very sure energy, like self-assuredness. It's got this like confidence and this authority that I feel like it screams freedom as well. Like freedom in your own, like this idea of wisdom, like freedom in your own confidence. Being confident sets you free. You know, I feel like once we're really settled and when we're really sure of ourselves, it's really difficult to shake us. You know? Like, even when it's shameful things, like going through divorce or other things like that. And it's like, once you come to peace with that and be like, yeah, I messed up. Like, I made the wrong choice or whatever the case may be. When we come to terms with that and we truly, truly settle it in our soul and our spirit, we don't get the same feelings as when it's brought up again. You know, we're still at peace. Like no one can steal your peace and no one can steal your joy. Those are things you have to release because they are inside of you. No one can take them from you because they dwell inside. Only you can release them. Let them go and replace them with fear, anxiety, all of these other different energies that do not serve our purpose and our intent. Okay, so moving on. So these are the general messages that I had, and now we're going to move on into our soul truth questions. I'm going to lay out 3 soul truth questions that you have the option of selecting to focus on for the week. So we have the first one: am I apologizing for my truth? And I feel like this is connected to literally what I just said about, you know, once you are settled in, certain of and settled in your truth, all of the shame and the darkness and the whatever those things are, once you're settled in that, no one can shake you. So this idea of like, am I apologizing for my truth? Like, sometimes I feel like we think we forgive ourselves, but you don't really know if you forgive yourself unless like someone can bring it up or you can even think about it and you still get triggered. If you're still getting triggered or feeling guilt or feeling shame, anger even, then there still needs to be some work done. What part of you is apologizing for your truth and why? Today, be proud of your truth. Catch yourself when you want to apologize or withhold parts of it. You never know whose life you will change when you are brave enough to speak it. Be the lighthouse that shines on the courage that lives in all of us. This will give others permission to speak their own truth. There is room for all of us. So your mantra for the week would be, courage is contagious. Yeah, I feel like we talked about strength and courage in here as well in this message. Very, very good soul truth to take forward with you for the week. So we also have, how can I deepen my trust right now? Trust is so critical. Like, even trusting ourselves. I feel like sometimes we get so concerned about other people and trusting other people that we don't acknowledge that we don't trust ourselves all fully sometimes. And I feel like that comes with the healing process and also with developing our spiritual tools. So when you develop your tools and your gifts of discernment and, you know, tapping into peace and joy whenever you need it, and just kind of residing in it, I feel like we start to trust ourselves a little bit more because we start to understand ourselves a little bit more. Trust, surrender. Let go of the wheel. You can trust. You can trust yourself. Trust fully in yourself so that you can deepen your trust in others. Trust creates safety. And when we feel safe, we feel unstoppable. So your week's soul action would be let go and trust. Today, find your center in the chaos and be certain with yourself so you can deepen your trust in others. I think it's really interesting, this idea of we really truly can only trust people as much as we trust ourselves. So just kind of bearing that in mind if you're super skeptical and suspicious about like everybody. I feel like this message here is about looking in on yourself and seeing, what is it about me that I do not trust? Because that is reflecting how I trust and my capacity for trust with other people. And then our final question is, what is my body telling me right now? So, you know, we talk about often, you know, spiritual life and, you know, the idea of passions and things like that. And then we talk about the world of Pentacle, which is about finances and it's about physical health. But I feel like all of it is connected. All of it is related. And this idea of looking at our corporeal forms, the vessels that our spirits and souls reside in, I feel like truly focusing on that energy is really important for us as well to maintain a healthy and happy life. So our body speaks to us through physical pain or discomfort. Our body sends messages for us to look more deeply. See the trapped emotions, the lurking fears and beliefs that limit you. Listen to your physical body and you will be led to the source of your pain. It's time to get your healing on. So your soul action for the week with this one is to get the book Heal Your Body by Louise L. Hay and find the answers toward which your body is guiding you. I would also say keep a food journal and exercise and or stretch. So if like exercising isn't your thing, then like just doing stretches like 10 minutes in the morning before you get out of bed, while you're in bed, just do some stretches. And, you know, if we're, you know, doing a workout or yoga or dancing, just dancing like a wild fool to some of your favorite songs, I feel like is also an acceptable exercising regimen as well that I tend to do myself because, you know, getting on treadmills and stuff is kind of boring to me. But anyway, if treadmills are your thing, then you treadmill, okay? My sister treadmills. It's relaxing to her. To each his own. As long as you are listening to your body and also, you know, eating, you know, what you ingest as well is just as important. So these are the messages that I have channeled for you today, group number 3. I hope it was helpful for you. If it was, make sure to drop a comment. Let me know what resonated. Also, let me know which question you're going to take into your week that you're going to meditate on. Click like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so YouTube lets you know when I upload new content. Like my Facebook page and check out my Etsy shop where I curate content to help you on your spiritual journey. Thank you so much again for your time and your energy today, and I will see you in an upcoming reading. Bye.